wanted the devil. Well, you got him.
So after the two massacres this weekend that left 29 people dead, including by white supremacists, Republicans have proven that Nancy Pelosi is not the only one who still thinks it's 1999. Okay, so House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy went on Fox News, of course, and they packed on the same bullshit scapegoating they used after Columbine video games.
I heard from the deputy governor of Texas earlier, and he was talking, it was a very impassioned conversation, really, and he was talking about the tone that the public uses on social media. He was talking about video games, all of these things that could have triggered, certainly the video game situation, he was saying, may have triggered the shooter there in El Paso. But what are your thoughts on that in terms of understanding that words matter and that when we're talking to each other on social media or looking at video games where they're using, videos of characters with these weapons, is there a conversation to be had about that, about the tone that this country is using? It's become commonplace to say whatever you want to anybody on social media.
I think we should, and you want to see from these individuals what they wrote in others, but I mean, this may be a place that we could find this ahead of time. There may be a place of what's being written can be changed, could be an indication that an individual needs help in others that we can stop. But the idea of these video games to dehumanize individuals, to have a game of shooting individuals and others, I've always felt that is a problem for future generations and others. We've watched from studies shown before of what it does to individuals. When you look at these photos of how it took place, you can see the actions within video games and others. But what I'd like to do is make sure just get all the facts where there are indications. And there's times before that we have found this, and there's times before that we've proven we could come together just in the last Congress.
That was infuriating. This is the same shit they pulled after Harrison Klebold shot up Columbine. Oh, it's the music they listen. They listen to Marilyn Manson, even though they didn't. It's the video games they played. It's the clothes they wore. It's the lack of prayer. They blame everything except bad parenting. After Columbine, because parents don't like to admit that maybe they screwed up as parents. It's like, oh, no, it's society. No, it's not me. But this case, this is two adults who did fucked up shit. And you know what Ohio Representative Candace Keller blamed the shooting on? At a minimum, she blamed it on the breakdown of traditional family, gay marriage, video games, recreational pot, open borders, disrespect of law enforcement, failed school policies, Barack Obama, and drag queen advocates. Unless you are saying that someone got so angry at all of these things that they decided, I'm just going to shoot it up a place, you are talking out of your ass. No one gets so mad about disrespect of law enforcement and police officers that they're going to shoot up a place when one of the guys shot up a Walmart at El Paso, which is near the border of Mexico, because he wanted to kill Mexicans. White supremacist terrorism. It's not that deep, fam. They also blamed it on atheists, removal of prayer in school, lack of people praying, the lack of father figures. Why can't people just address the fact that too many nutcases have access to guns? And look, I like guns. I want one when I can afford it. I have a lot of airsoft guns, and I want one for real. But you know what? I don't think that I should just get it as easily as you can get an M-rated video game at GameStop, where you just show your ID and show the money, and that's it. No questions asked. Just prove that you're over 21 or 18, and that's it. I believe in background checks, universal, whether it's at gun shops or whatever. But no. They can't, they don't want, they don't want to admit it that, places like the UK, Canada, and Japan, they have violent video games. Hell, they have hentai. Japan has hentai. And you know what? People don't want to do all that. They don't do it. Japan has only had like at least 10 gun deaths this year. We get 10,000 each year. Now, I get it. Some of you might say, well, that's because Japan and UK, they're smaller than us. Granted. But still. 10 gun deaths. There is more than 10 people in Japan. And look, I'm not saying we should get rid of guns like UK did after some pedophile shot up a school in Scotland. But there needs to be sensible gun control because somehow Canada, UK, Japan, they have sensible gun control, and yet, I don't know, they have so much less school shootings than we did. Now I believe in guns. I believe in them. Second Amendment, yes. But it's one of those things where you need to prove that you are not a nutcase. Guns. I'm not saying that we should just get rid of them. Like I said, I've said this like a million times. I have this problem where I just repeat everything. But the point is, something needs to be done. Common, sensible gun reform. Sensible gun control reform. Sensible. I'm not saying get rid of them, but we need to do something. Something is better than nothing. And you know what? It's sort of like how a parent refuses to address a problem because addressing the problem would mean admitting that they're shitty parents. And that's what a lot of these people do. They don't like to admit that our generation and the kids' generations, they're shitty. They want to live in the 90s. Republicans, Nancy Pelosi does too. She thinks, and I'm referring to impeachment. Like how impeachment will help the president and his popularity and shit. But they think that if we just blame music and video games, that the problem will just go away or the people will shut up. Common sense gun reform. Common sense. Sensible. That's what Bernie wants. That's what I want. I'm in favor of guns, but I'm also in favor of gun reform. Gun control. Not the confiscation of guns, not the banning of guns, but a sensible way to make sure that guns don't get in the hands of crazy people and violent people. And now some of you thinking, well, they'll just get it illegally. Yeah, but it'll be a little bit more difficult for them to get it illegally. Harrison Klebold, they only got one of their guns illegally. They illegally bought the Tech 9 for $500 behind the Jack Black Pizza they worked at. You know what? Harrison Klebold enlisted Dylan Klebold's prom date, Robin Anderson, who was 18 at the time when they weren't, to buy 3 of the guns, the High Point rifle and the 2 shotguns, at a gun show. And she said that if she had to go through a background check, a quote, would have given me pause, unquote. Meaning she most likely wouldn't have done it. And all they would have had were a bunch of bombs and one little gun, a Tech 9. That's it. Not saying they wouldn't have gotten their hands on other types of guns illegally, but what I'm saying is it would have been more difficult. And doing something is better than doing nothing at all. Republican Theodore Roosevelt said that the worst thing you can do, that the best thing you do is the best thing, the second best is the worst thing you can do is nothing at all, or something like that. But Republicans are like, let's just do nothing. They're playing the whole ignore it and hope it goes away. Well, let me tell you something. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. Ignoring gun violence is like ignoring the fact that your ex-girlfriend is pregnant. It doesn't make the baby go away, and it doesn't make ignoring the gun violence doesn't make it go away. Do something, Congress. I just want you to know that tonight I will be praying hard for Dayton and El Paso, and just everyone who survived and the victim and the families of victims. Y'all will be in my prayers, and the recently departed will be in my prayers as well. And please don't hate on me for praying. I do. I pray. This is a stain upon our nation. We didn't learn our lesson from Columbine. It's said many times. One guy lights his shoe on fire on the airplane, and we have to take our shoes off the airport. So many gun deaths at the Columbine, yet nothing has gotten done. I used to think that maybe one day we'd finally wake up, especially after Aurora and Sandy Hook, maybe Vegas. But apparently, you know, there's no industry that makes a profit off of selling bombs and shoes. But the NRA and the gun manufacturers, they pay Congress to do nothing. I know that Citizens United wasn't around in Columbine, but maybe if they weren't, maybe some gun reform would be able to get around. But as long as companies, gun manufacturers and other companies are able to pay, are managed to bribe or essentially buy politicians in Congress, both Democrats and Republicans and independents, this country will never progress. We need change now, not in 8 years, not in 4 years, not after the election. We need it right now, right here, right now. People are dying. Congress, you hold people's lives in your hands, and yet you sit on your hands and do nothing while we are being killed, while you are sitting in your cushy little offices with your bodyguards in Washington, D.C., or your state legislatures. You do nothing. And while you accept all the money you get from all the gun manufacturers and the health insurance companies, you let people die on the streets every day, whether it's through lack of health insurance or some nutcase with an AK-47. And I'm not saying Trump is responsible, but I know this. If Bernie Sanders was president right now, I'm not saying there wouldn't be any there wouldn't be any mass shootings, but you know what? There wouldn't be someone inspired by Fox News, or the president of the United States wouldn't be inspiring this crap. Because Bernie Sanders wants to unite us, while Trump is day after day dividing us. But like I said, Congress, you hold our lives in your hands. I could be going to work tomorrow. I have work tomorrow, and I could go there and some nutcase could shoot me because Congress sat on its ass and did nothing. Now, I still have hope that Congress will one day wake up and pass some sensible gun reform. But with every day, that hope dwindles. That's all I gotta say. I want everyone to stay awesome, stay positive, stay progressive, and as always, may the force be with you.
United, there is little we cannot do in a host of cooperative ventures. Divided, there is little we can do, not because the communists may be doing it, not because we seek their votes, but because it is right. If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich.